Hey everyone, Sweet Sasha here, and today we're diving into a sugar rush of fun with 10 sweet video games that are sure to brighten your day. Okay, let's talk about Burnout Revenge. This game isn't just a racing game, it's a glorious metal-bending, traffic-shredding symphony of destruction. Forget about driving cleanly or respecting the rules of the road. Burnout Revenge actively encourages you to treat every other vehicle on the road like a giant destructible domino. The core mechanic is literally called traffic checking, which means you can ram into slower-moving cars in your direction and watch them explode into a satisfying cascade of twisted metal. It's the ultimate fantasy for anyone who's ever been stuck in rush hour traffic and fantasized about turning everything into a fiery spectacle. What makes it so ridiculously fun is that every race feels like a desperate high-speed ballet of controlled chaos. You're not just trying to win, you're trying to cause the most catastrophic pileups, earn revenge takedowns on drivers who wronged you, and chain together enough near misses to fill your boost meter and become an unstoppable, explosive missile. The crashes are spectacular, the sense of speed is insane, and the sheer audacity of the game's get destructive or go home philosophy makes it a timeless classic for anyone who likes their racing with a healthy dose of pure, unadulterated vehicular mayhem. Okay, let's talk about Super Mario Bros. 3. This game isn't just good, it's like a warm, fuzzy blanket made of pure joy and pixelated genius. It took everything you loved about the first two, well, the real second one, and then threw it into a blender with 1,000 new brilliant ideas, adding a dash of how did they even think of that for good measure. Suddenly, Mario could fly with a raccoon tail, turn into a statue, or even become a frog, which, let's be honest, was only good for swimming, but still. The world map was like a giant board game, teasing you with branching paths and secret toad houses, making you feel like a master strategist instead of just a guy running right. Every single level felt fresh and surprising, from giant worlds where Goombas towered over you to ice levels that were infuriatingly slippery and airships that would try to blast you out of the sky. It was pure, unadulterated platforming perfection, crammed with so many secrets that you probably still haven't found them all, even after playing it for 30 years. Super Mario Bros. 3 wasn't just a game, it was a phenomenon that made us all believe a plumber in a silly suit could literally do anything, as long as he had a flying leaf handy. Wave Race Blue Storm for the GameCube is one of those games that just hits different, mostly because it feels like you're actually fighting the ocean itself, and the ocean is having a really bad day. The water physics are so ridiculously good for their time that you'll spend half a race just marveling at the waves before realizing you've been slammed into a buoy. Each race is a beautiful, chaotic ballet of you trying to tame your jet ski while the dynamic weather system throws everything from gentle ripples to tsunamis in a can at you. It's less of a race and more of a desperate attempt to stay afloat, which is way more fun than it sounds. On top of the glorious water wrestling, the game is famous for its, let's call it, enthusiastic announcer. Depending on your performance, your crew chief can be your biggest cheerleader or your most savage critic. And there's even a hidden cheat code to make him straight up insult you for the entire race. Nothing says motivation like being called a weak waste of time while you're trying to navigate a monsoon in the Arctic. It's this perfect storm of stunning visuals, challenging gameplay, and hilarious personality that makes Wave Race Blue Storm an absolute must-play classic. A stall on the Sega Saturn is a total gem, and if you haven't played it, you're missing out on some seriously whimsical fun. Imagine a game where everything looks like it was lovingly hand-painted by a team of artistic fairies. And then those fairies decided to animate it all with more frames than your eyeballs can probably handle. Seriously, the animation is so smooth it's like butter sliding on a hot griddle. Your eyes will thank you. Plus, the main character, Astal, is just a big, beefy, adorable lug with a heart of gold, trying to rescue a princess, because of course, and his little bird sidekick, who you can even control for some added chaos. Beyond the gorgeous visuals, Astal's got that classic 2D platforming goodness with a dash of beat-em-up action. You're punching, throwing, and ground-pounding your way through some truly creative enemies and environments. It's got that just one more level addictiveness, And even when things get tough, it's still charming enough to keep you smiling. It's the kind of game that reminds you why you fell in love with 2D games in the first place, proving that sometimes all you need is a big hero, a cute sidekick, and a whole lot of beautifully animated punching. All right, let's dig into TNN Hardcore Heat. Now, this game on the PlayStation, or Dreamcast if you were fancy, might not have been the prettiest belle at the ball, but it had a certain janky charm that made it oddly lovable. Imagine off-road racing where your vehicle feels less like a finely tuned machine and more like a squirrel on roller skates, constantly threatening to spin out into a glorious, muddy pirouette at the slightest provocation. It was a physics model that said, realism? Nah, let's just make it feel like you're driving on ice but with more dirt. What made it good, in a why are we laughing so hard at this kind of way, was precisely that unpredictable nature. Every turn was an adventure, every bump a potential launch pad to airborne hilarity. You weren't just racing, you were wrestling with the digital forces of nature, trying to coerce your buggy into staying vaguely on the track while your opponents careened past, sometimes successfully, sometimes into a very undignified bush. It was the kind of game where winning felt like a miracle, and even losing was a riot, because at least you provided some spectacular vehicular acrobatics for your troubles. Okay, let's chat about Pac-Man Championship Edition. If you thought the original Pac-Man was just about munching dots in a maze, this game came along and said, hold my energy pellet. It took the classic formula, cranked the visuals up to 11 with neon lights and trippy patterns, and injected it with so much caffeine it practically vibrates. Suddenly, Pac-Man wasn't just a chill stroll through a static maze, it was a high-octane, time-limit dash for points, where the maze itself morphs and changes as you play. It's like the arcade game went to a rave and came back with a glow-up and a serious need for speed. What makes it so ridiculously good is that it manages to feel both comfortingly familiar and wildly new all at once. You're still chomping pellets and dodging ghosts, but now you're strategically collecting fruit to spawn new maze sections and chaining together enormous ghost trains for massive scores. It's pure, unadulterated arcade bliss, designed to keep you on the edge of your seat yelling, "Just one more run," at 3 a.m. Plus, the music absolutely slaps, making every high-score chase feel like a victorious, neon-soaked parade. It's the kind of game that proves even an old dog can learn new, incredibly awesome tricks. Okay, let's talk about Rayman Legends. This game is like a rainbow exploded onto your screen, then decided to turn into a platforming masterclass with more charm than a talking teacup. Seriously, every level is a feast for the eyes, looking like it was drawn by a mad genius with an endless supply of crayons and a passion for making things look really cool. And the animation? Smoother than a jazz saxophonist on a Saturday night. You'll probably spend half your time just admiring how fluid Rayman and his buddies move, which is saying something when there are literally hundreds of teensies to rescue, all of whom are probably screaming for their lives. But it's not just a pretty face. Rayman Legends is pure, unadulterated platforming joy. Each level throws new, wacky ideas at you, from sneaking through shadows to riding on giant musical instruments that react to the beat of the fantastic soundtrack. Yes, you heard that right. Musical levels. You'll be jumping, punching, and sliding to the rhythm of classic tunes, turning the game into a bizarre but brilliant symphony of chaos. Plus, if you have friends, or even if you don't and just want to control a bunch of characters yourself like a mad puppeteer, the co-op is absolutely bonkers fun. It's the kind of game that makes you high-five yourself, even when you're playing alone. All right, let's chat about 3D Doc Game Heroes. Imagine if the original Legend of Zelda had a baby with a super fancy 3D printer, and that baby decided to make every single character and object out of giant, glorious pixels. That's essentially 3D Doc Game Heroes. It's a love letter wrapped in a joke, tied with a bow made of nostalgia to those classic 8-bit adventure games. You're exploring dungeons, whacking slimes, and rescuing princesses, but everything looks like it just popped out of an old TV screen. Only now, it's in a dazzling 3D world. It's gloriously retro and hilariously modern all at once. What really makes it sing, besides the visual gag, is how much fun it is to play. The combat is simple but satisfying. The puzzles are just challenging enough to make you feel smart, but not too smart, and the sheer amount of charm oozes from every corner of the kingdom of Dotnia. Plus, you can literally design your own hero, pixel by pixel. Want to be a giant T-Rex with a sword? Go for it. A blocky hot dog saving the world? Why not? It's goofy, it's endearing, and it reminds you why those old-school adventures were so magical. But now, with a side of hilarious pixelated explosion. Okay, let's talk about Sonic 3D Blast. Now, before you start yelling about blast processing and true 2D speed, hear me out. This game is like the quirky cousin of the Sonic family. It's not trying to break speed records, it's trying to make you think. About collecting tiny, adorable birds. Yes, instead of just zipping through loops, you're now on a mission to rescue little flickies from badniks in these surprisingly vast, pseudo-3D isometric levels. It's less gotta go fast and more gotta find all the things and then figure out how to get them to the exit without losing them all. It's basically an egg hunt mixed with a pinball machine, and sometimes those flickies decide to take a scenic detour through a spike trap. But for all its charmingly deliberate pace and occasional camera shenanigans, which, let's be honest, were par for the course in early 3D, Sonic 3D Blast has a certain hypnotic quality. There's a bizarre satisfaction in clearing out an area, gathering your flock of feathered friends and then trying to keep them all together as you navigate treacherous platforms. The levels are surprisingly colorful, and the boss battles are classic Sonic absurdity. It might be the game where Sonic decided to take a chill pill and enjoy the scenery while still saving the world, obviously. And sometimes, that's exactly what you need. It's the different Sonic, and different can be good, especially when tiny birds are involved. Let's get real about Killer Instinct on the Xbox One. This game isn't just a fighter. It's a glorious neon-drenched explosion of combo breaker that will make you feel like a fighting game god, even if you mostly just mash buttons. It took the classic, over-the-top vibe of the arcade original and cranked it to 11, with characters that look like they stepped out of an 80s heavy metal album cover and more particle effects than a fireworks factory going off. Seriously, every punch, kick, and special move lights up the screen like a disco ball having a seizure, and it's absolutely fantastic. But the real magic is in the combat system. It's incredibly accessible for newcomers who just want to pull off flashy moves, but deep enough to keep the hardcore pros theorizing for years. The combo breaker system isn't just a cool catchphrase. It's a brilliant mind game that keeps both players on their toes, even when one person is getting absolutely pummeled in a 50-hit combo. And let's not forget that iconic announcer who screams every ultra combo with the enthusiasm of 1,000 hype men. It's fast, it's flashy, and it proves that sometimes all you need is a killer soundtrack, ridiculous characters, and the satisfaction of breaking your opponent's seemingly endless combo to have a truly awesome time. That's all for now, sweet treats. Thanks for joining me on this sugary adventure through some seriously sweet games. If your teeth aren't aching from all that cuteness and bad puns, please consider giving this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.